Did he actually send hundreds of beats to Kendrick? Hundreds could be 400, 300. You think he sent 300 beats to Kendrick? 300, 100? I don't know. That's very interesting. All right, man. Torture Talk After Hours, you know what it is. So look, man, Kendrick Lamar may be dropping another album, but this one may be connected to Damn instead of GNX. And that would be pretty interesting if he did do something like that. I know The Weeknd used to do stuff like that. He would release videos for songs that he did years ago. He would do new videos for it, which is pretty dope to me. I like that. I like when artists do stuff like that. So, all right, so let's get to it, man. Let's do it.
To fully understand why Kendrick Lamar fans are thinking that there is going to be another big album before April 19th, we have to take it back to 2017. After Kendrick had dropped Damn, his to date then biggest album yet, there were rumors about a possible follow-up record called Nation. This was fueled by him hinting at new music and his producer Soundwave hinting at a theme of duality between a red and a blue record. This would obviously then have the combined titles of Damn Nation, and fans made entire theories about this, and Kendrick at least admitted that sometimes the fans are right about certain theories, that he called them crazy in putting all the dots together.
I believe it, and I must be honest with y'all, this is the perfect time for him to release, if it is Nation. This is 100% the best time for him to release Nation. So if he did an album and it's Damn, and then years later he dropped one called Nation, and the climate that's going on right now, bro, if he did that, I'm telling you right now, it would probably go platinum the first week, bro. I ain't going to lie to y'all. It would go platinum the first week. It would probably outsell GNX. It probably would outsell GNX. I'm not even going to sit here and hold y'all. But yeah, let's keep it going.
Also said that fans are always right there knowing about certain songs that haven't dropped yet, but that even he himself is surprised that they know about. So we know that Kendrick fans are always on the lookout for some secret album. Now, Nation obviously never dropped because we had to wait 5 years, over 1,800 days in between Damn and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, as all of us should be aware of, but it still never died down that Kendrick has a bunch of unreleased records, now also being fueled up again after he dropped GNX in November of 2024, as we are moving closer and closer to his upcoming tour, the Grand National Tour with...
It makes sense. So even if he did do another album for the tour, like Kendrick Lamar, he is in such a great position right now. He is in such a good position. I never in my life seen a rapper in this type of position before. Never. That actually makes good music, and it's like I never seen this. I never seen it. He in such a great position right now. A great position. Yep, great position.
SZA. Now, to understand why fans think that there is another big album, we have to take a closer look at GNX, the album that surprise dropped in November. Now, fans were expecting a really big record from Kendrick Lamar. He was just coming off of the beef with Drake that he undeniably won, and we know that he's been working on a new record ever since May of 2022 when he dropped Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So 2.5 years in between both of those records. And the reason people are thinking it's going to be dropping before April 19th is because that is when his tour with SZA, the big Grand National Tour, is actually coming up. He's also riding high off of the momentum that he gained from having one of the best Super Bowl performances that at least a hip-hop artist has ever done, and also by now again replacing Drake at the #1 spot, replacing Nokia with Not Like Us Again. So it's all looking pretty damn good for Kendrick. Now, GNX obviously has some interesting characteristics. The title of the record referring to a West Coast staple car, the Grand National, and its upgraded version, the GNX.
This I was just talking to my boys earlier about this, two of my friends, and I said, y'all realize that we coming up on a year and we still talking about Kendrick and Drake. Yo, people say, well, it's Kendrick and Drake fatigue. This is why I say this battle, to me, is the greatest battle of all time, because usually when battles happen, people stop talking about them. This is it. Okay, people gonna always ask who's the best, Jay-Z or Nas, right? But that was a little bit different compared to this, because that was like this, but it was a little bit different, because in my opinion, they both can rap and they both are extremely good lyricists. Jay can be an extremely good lyricist when he wants to. A lot of times I don't think he really want to, but he can be extremely good lyricist. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, we already know Nas is an extremely good lyricist. But see, Kendrick, I think Kendrick is much more of a better lyricist than Drake. I think Drake is a great song maker, but Kendrick makes better songs than Drake as well. I just think that Drake is better at masking his popularity, and not masking, but displaying his popularity better than Kendrick. And sometimes I think Drake is easier to follow along with. Doesn't necessarily mean he makes better music, but let's keep it going.
GN meaning Grand National. This obviously also then ties back to the name of the tour, the Grand National Tour, which obviously also is a pun in itself, because it was originally a national tour before the international dates got added. And this all ties back to GNX not being exactly what fans were expecting. They were expecting a really big new album with big features, big production on there, and GNX was more of a niche West Coast project with only West Coast artists being featured. We do have SZA on there. She's the only big pop star, but rumors about Taylor Swift being on the next record obviously didn't come true. Also, a runtime of only a little over 40 minutes were at least not what fans were expecting. So they immediately thought that this would be only a little mixtape before the next big album would come. Now, tying this back to the title, you could also say that we have this big new album, the Grand National Album, coming up after GNX, which was only the upgraded little version, kind of the mixtape for it. This now also tying back, maybe as a pun from Kendrick himself, to the fan theories about Nation dropping after Damn. This time,
I mean, I don't know. I'll put it to you like this. You never know with Kendrick. Kendrick is very methodical on how he does things. I wouldn't put it past him if he released an album called Nation. But I don't think Kendrick necessarily cares about, because Kendrick probably has about 5 albums. But I think he moves in a certain way. I think he has it whereas he don't want to just release anything. You know what I'm saying? I think he do everything with a purpose. Do everything with a purpose. Everything with a purpose.
Having the Grand National, then also connecting to GNX. And the reasons for a new album still dropping really do not fall short, because for one, we have the Hard Part 6 being featured on the track list for GNX, and we all know that the Hard Part series is a series that always drops before a new record drops. The Hard Part songs are never featured on the actual albums. Just like in the case of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, the Hard Part 5 was only put on like a third disc afterward. And the fact that we had the Hard Part 6 on GNX led a lot of people to believe that this could have only been an entire project as the lead up to the next big project. We also have in the trailer for the...
I definitely think that people they come up with these ideas, or they look at the patterns of Kendrick and he switches up a lot. But I definitely think that something's probably gonna happen. But something's gonna happen before. Something's gonna happen before before not the Super Bowl, before the stadium tour. I'm telling you now, something is gonna happen. Whether he release a new song or something, I believe something's gonna happen. I believe it. But that's what he does. He does do that. He make you believe that something's gonna happen, and then it turns out nothing happens. You know what I'm saying?
GNX album, a song that he also then performed at the Super Bowl that we hadn't heard yet because it didn't end up on GNX. This is so far titled Bodies by the fans and is really at this point a grail that fans are anticipating, and this could then lead into the next album, just like we had a snippet from Squabble Up in the music video for Not Like Us, and this obviously led to the release of GNX half a year later. So fans are thinking that's a pretty big link as well. Also, there are 2 GNX cars in the trailer for GNX, maybe also hinting at this duality of a GNX upgraded version mixtape and the Grand National Big Album that is then coming before the Grand National Tour. Otherwise, he could have also named the tour the GNX Tour. He's named it the Grand National though. All of this obviously comes besides the fact that GNX doesn't feel like a big record. I mentioned the features, the runtime, but also the production is interesting. We have a lot of Mustard on the album, but we know that Mustard has only been working with Kendrick Lamar ever since Not Like Us. That was their first song together. And we know that Mustard sent hundreds of beats to Kendrick, who then only chose Not Like Us in May of 2024. So if this was the record that Kendrick has been working on,
I mean, did he actually send hundreds of beats to Kendrick? Hundreds could be 400, 300. You think he sent 300 beats to Kendrick? 300, 100? I don't know. That's very interesting.
For 2.5 years, why is a lot of the production only able to be traced back to at least the period between May of 2024 and November of 2024. This comes again in addition to the fact that we've gotten word that some of the material for GNX was only recorded the couple of days before release, and the label also only found out about the release of GNX the morning of that Friday. So this all combines into this mystery of how
that nigga Kendrick is wild. He released the joint like, bro, that's wild. That's wild. GNX is fire, man. GNX is a classic, bro. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to y'all. It's definitely a classic.
GNX actually came out, and if this is actually the big record that we were expecting or that Kendrick was working on for more than 2 years. Now, there is still the theory that this is just gonna be a deluxe. We, for example, have the lyrics on Squabble Up double back like a deluxe. We also have Lefty Gunplay, who's featured on the record, talking about a possible deluxe coming. So the options we have before April 19th is that there is going to be a big new album. Just like Nation back in 2017, this could be the Grand National connecting to GNX. This is something that at least I can see a lot of good reasons to believe. Now, time is running out. That is a very obvious fact that we have to take into consideration, but it's not like it would be impossible for Kendrick to drop another big project. We've seen, for example, with Tyler, the Creator, that sometimes you only need just a week of a great, concise, and focused rollout like he did for Chromacopia to actually get people excited. You don't need half a year of hints and leaks and snippets like maybe, for example, The Weeknd did for Hurry Up Tomorrow to build up a big amount of hype, especially not when it's Kendrick, who, as I mentioned earlier, is riding a big wave of momentum right now, also carrying over into this tour. So there could just be a deluxe coming out over the next couple of days, but the theory or the possibility that there is another big album, Grand National, just like Nation back in 2017 for Damn, is really not out of the conversation. But obviously,
yeah, I believe it. I believe it. We'll see what happens, man. Yeah, man. What y'all think? Y'all think that he gonna come out with an album, a new album? You know what I'm saying? Y'all think he gonna release Nation, which would be the title for the Damn Nation? Or do y'all think he gonna release the deluxe edition, the GNX, but Grand National, which would be fire if he named it Grand National. All right, man. You have yourself a good evening. I am going to bed. See y'all. Peace. Bye.